Wanted to show you real quick on this drain tile because I've seen it done wrong lots of times. This has a fabric around it, and I'll see where people leave this fabric back and they just shove it in there like that. What you want to do is pull this fabric around, so, and fold it over. Fold it in like that. And then now when you stick it in that pipe, it'll clamp. There's little clips in there, it'll hold it in place. And that way have 100% seal around it. And that fabric isn't going to get in the way of anything. Another thing I've seen people do is they'll take these rolls and they'll just like stretch them out. You need to roll it out the way it was rolled up. So on this I would stand it up like that, roll it out like a tire. If you don't, you're going to end up with one heck of a big tangled mess. And that's just no fun. Another thing is you're never going to get this perfectly straight. In fact, most guys just throw it in the ditch and then cover it up. They never even level it very well. I'm trying to do better than that, but so this is a 4-inch pipe. So if there's a little bit of up and down in it, that's okay, as long as you're not more than 4 inches or so. Because if you have a little hump, water can build on the other side and you get into trouble if you have a real big up and down everywhere. So I'm not taking a whole lot of time to get this perfectly straight. I've tamped it down and then get ready to assemble it. But just a couple suggestions there. Okay, I'm finishing up my drain tile. Got it around 2 sides. So what I've got here is I've sloped from high point in this corner down to my low point, and that's going to drain off down into the ditch. So I just packed some AB3 down to get it leveled, and I'll tie into that pipe there. It's a T. That'll be my outlet or run down the driveway. Packed up some of that clay, and it got so hard I couldn't even get a shovel through it. But underneath this clean gravel is my drain tile, and it's wrapped in fiber to keep dirt and stuff out. So it just goes straight across, and it wraps around. I'll do it around the back side. The next step after that is going to be I'm going to probably put more dirt down here to fill this up, because I'm going to have a pretty good angle. And then I'll bend down a couple of rebar and then start working on the inside. So that's it for now. I'm finally making a dent in my dirt pile. This stuff is just hard as rock once I pack it down. So we've had so much wind. The wind has been just crazy. I'm seriously thinking about getting a windmill to complement our solar panels. So I'm looking into that right now. My issue with them is that they're typically really loud. So if I do that, I want to get one that's nice and quiet, or at least decently quiet, and try that out. But yeah, the wind is just absurd. They're building windmill farms all over the place. 10 years ago, they said this area was not windy enough for windmills, and now there's 4 windmill plants going up all over the place. So I think we can probably do it with the windmill too. We'll see. Okay, so made some progress. The biggest difference is, of course, our burn pile is pretty much gone, and I have made a pretty significant dent in our dirt pile. And I think the last time I did a video I was putting in the drain tile. So all the drain tile is in now, and started to fill in the inside. A couple of areas, like this area, is all AB3. I had to do all that by hand. I just couldn't get anything in here. All this is going to be done by hand because I can't get any equipment in here. So I was able to dump some buckets of clay over the side, and then use the mini to push the dirt around. The rest of it was just hand dug. Got about 4 to even upwards of 8 inches of AB3 throughout the inside. A lot of it we filled up with as much dirt as we could. The dirt or the clay was not cooperating very well. So a lot of times it just was making more of a mess. But we did get probably a good 4 inches of clay down, and then some spots are higher than other spots. This was the first area that I did, and it actually got probably closer to 6 inches of clay, or maybe 7. It was higher than it should have been. So now the monsoon comes and I'm out of rock, but it's supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow, and then a break one day, and then rain for 3 days, and then a break for 2 days, and then rain for 2 days. So, which is good because I want this to get good and soaked and packed down really good before we pour. So I still have to bring this up quite a bit. You can see on the sides I've got anywhere between on the low end probably 2, which is what I want. On the high end probably still close to 5 or 6 inches, and I've got to get that level at 2 inches all the way around. Finished the drain pipe, so from that stack right there it comes this way, and then 45s over to there. And really nervous about driving over it, but I don't really have a choice. So we packed it down good, and this finer stuff is around the whole pipe, which if you have a large rock and it's sitting next to that and you drive over it, it'll definitely puncture it. But this thinner, this chip rock, 1/4 inch chip, it will move and allow it to flex a little bit, so we should be okay, unless there's a rock I missed that I rolled over. So I'm tempted to get my camera guy out here. I kind of wish that he was here and we had this done when I had him shoot the camera down the wells, because I would have been able to camera this at the same time and make sure nothing's broken before we pour the slab. So I might have him come out here again, or I've seen online there's some pretty cheap 50-foot cameras. I may just buy one of those and see if I can get it in there. You'll notice that my footings are nice and crooked a little bit. I bumped this one right in front of me and then pushed it back into place. I really should have pinned those into the ground with rebar. Actually, this one does have a pin on one side, so it just twisted it. A couple of the pins, I can see a pin on that next one on the outside, was because when the ooze that came out from the bottom of the forms kind of buried those in place. But I really should have pinned those because they're just kind of free floating out here. Nothing's really holding them in place. So they're still fine. These are pretty big footings. I think they're 18 by 18, or no, they're 20 by 20. And so my post is going to land somewhere close to the center of that, and it'll be fine. But that is it. So I'll let the rain start for a day and a half, and then come out here and see if I can. I'm going to get a vibrator compactor and come through over the whole thing, and over the dirt areas don't have AB3 on it yet, because I couldn't get the skid steer in there or the Mini to be able to push them down, drive back and forth over 100 times to get it good and packed. So I'll get that vibrator and go across the clay, and then have to hand I can dump the AB3 in there, but then I have to spread it out by hand and then pack it, and then spread it and pack it and spread it and pack it and spread it and pack it until it gets good and packed. And then goes my insulation, and then my rebar, and then my mesh, and then my radiant floor, and then my framing, and then we pour. So got a lot to do, but it's getting there. It's getting a lot better. Taking probably 20 foot of my dirt pile out and put that in here. There are also several rocks in there underneath that, so getting closer every little bit.